Next up in chapter 7 is a part of the book I was really looking forward to getting to when I saw it coming up. And here he's talking about trying to differentiate the personal field of consciousness to the collective fields. And he brings up these 5 reasons that are often brought up when people are trying to argue the point. But he actually pushes back against all of it in pretty much the same way I would if someone was to pose these reasonings to me. So the 5 reasonings are the level of awareness seems much higher in collective fields. The environment in collective fields are more stable and solid. Events that you do not expect to occur in collective fields. Individuals have a mind of their own, and then everything just seems or feels different. So we'll take each of these kind of individually here. So first up, the level of awareness is much higher in collective fields. Now, of course, within a lucid dream, there is a large range of levels of awareness or lucidity that you could have. And just because you feel very lucid or very aware within a state does not necessarily mean you're outside of your own psyche. And he writes, a high level of lucidity may also be experienced in the personal field, and as such, it is not intrinsic to any sort of collective field of consciousness. I would agree with that. Second, collective fields are more stable and solid. And he writes, the reason often mentioned is that collective fields of consciousness are created by more than one individual. Consequently, the environment is more stable and less likely to change in response to an individual's thoughts. Now, the way I see this is, okay, well, first of all, of course, within a lucid dream, things can certainly seem and feel very solid and stable, right? Just going off a sense or feeling you may get. But also, when you're within a lucid dream, you're working in tandem with your subconscious, and your subconscious is so much bigger and more powerful than whatever your perceived conscious awareness is, that in order to get anything done, right, it has to be signed off by your subconscious. So say just because you're trying to get something in the environment to change and it won't change, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's outside of yourself. It might just be your subconscious mind, not allowing that to happen for whatever reason. Then we have events that you do not expect to occur in collective fields. Now, of course, if you spend any decent amount of time within a lucid dream or anything like that, you'll find that a lot of stuff you do not expect to occur happens all the time. Now, expectation is still, very powerful and prominent within the personal field and lucid dreaming stuff, but it's definitely not like the supreme ruler and king of everything. That, I would say, is, of course, again, like your subconscious. Fourth, we have individuals have a mind of their own. Now, one of the most fun things to do inside of a lucid dream is to go ahead and interact with the dream characters and talk to them and kind of see, where they're coming from, if they have a life of their own, if they think they're conscious or sentient on their own. And very often, if you pose that kind of question into them, they'll push back and be like, hell yeah, I'm conscious and I'm fully separate from you. But even there, that doesn't strike me as being that odd, because in regular waking, life, as we're going around interacting with all the different people in our lives, we don't know for a fact that they're conscious and separate from us. All we know is that they seem to be separate from us, and they act, and all evidence points to that they're conscious and separate from us. So because that is such a ingrained habit of our every waking day experience, I see how that could very easily lead over to, the personal field and lucid dreaming stuff as well. And then lastly, everything just seems or feels different. Now, he actually kind of highlights this as one of the better reasons to try and prove that, or differentiate the personal field from the collective. But the way I see it, and he points us out here too, where, it seems quite unconvincing, it lacks precision, but just trying to go off of a sense or feel that you have within the dream space, that just does not seem like solid reasoning to me, because you can have a lot of strong sense and feelings in dreams. It does not necessarily mean that it's real solid, concrete proof, or really is the case anyway. He did bring up something here that I thought was cool, because it was the exact same experience that I had in my limited void excursions. And he writes, it is possible to get a glimpse of the background energy underlining perception. And he's using that as the background energy to being potentially something outside of yourself, of course, to which I would say is maybe just your subconscious mind. But he writes, for example, right before you enter an environment from the void, if you slow down the process, you may perceive abstract geometric patterns, providing the building blocks for the eventual perceptions. And that is exactly what I noticed in my, void experience, when I was able to kind of rebuild the a scene out of it. Is I wasn't even trying to slow it down. I was just really trying to pay attention to the experience and really try to soak in and bring back as much from it as I could. But I totally noticed it looked like almost like a Jenga blocks, or like these squares that were kind of like turning and switching into place, and then the environment kind of sprung up out of that. So I thought that was cool and something I noticed before ever, reading this part of the book.